The Lost Elephant is a heartwarming story about a majestic elephant named Ellie, who gets separated from her herd and goes on a journey to find her way back home. Along the way, she meets a group of kind monkeys who help her find her herd and teaches her the importance of family, friendship, and the kindness of strangers. The story then follows Ellie's journey as she becomes the leader of her herd, and with the help of her monkey friends, works to protect the jungle and its inhabitants from poachers and other dangers. The story is full of adventure, friendship, and teaches valuable life lessons about compassion, conservation and the power of working together. Ellie's story will inspire readers to appreciate the beauty of nature and the importance of protecting it, and will leave them with a sense of hope and a belief in the power of kindness and compassion. Let's start our beautiful story. Once upon a time, in a dense jungle, there lived an elephant named Ellie. Ellie was a majestic and friendly elephant who loved to roam the jungle with her herd. One day, while out on a walk, Ellie got separated from her herd. She tried to find her way back, but the jungle was dense and she couldn't remember which way she came from. As the day turned into night, Ellie grew increasingly worried. She missed her herd and was scared of being alone in the jungle. She tried to make a shelter using branches and leaves, but she couldn't stop thinking about her herd and the safety of her family. The next day, Ellie set out to find her herd. She walked for hours, trying to find any familiar landmarks or signs of her herd. She came across a river, but she couldn't remember if she had crossed it before with her herd or not. Ellie decided to follow the river, hoping it would lead her to her herd. As she walked, Ellie came across a group of monkeys. They chattered excitedly and gestured for her to follow them. Ellie was hesitant at first, but she decided to trust them. The monkeys led her to a clearing where her herd was grazing. Ellie was overjoyed to be reunited with her family. She thanked the monkeys for their help and promised to always be grateful for their kindness. From that day on, Ellie made sure to always stay close to her herd and never wandered too far away. She learned a valuable lesson about the importance of family and the kindness of strangers. After being reunited with her herd, Ellie couldn't stop thinking about the monkeys who had helped her. She wanted to find a way to repay their kindness. She remembered that the monkeys loved to eat ripe bananas and decided to lead her herd to a nearby banana plantation to gather some bananas for the monkeys. The herd arrived at the plantation and began to gather as many ripe bananas as they could carry. Ellie made sure to only take the ripe ones, so the monkeys could enjoy them right away. The next day, Ellie and her herd set out to return to the clearing where they had met the monkeys. They arrived to find the monkeys waiting for them. The monkeys were thrilled to see the elephants and even more excited about the bananas. They chattered and gestured their appreciation, and Ellie felt a warmth in her heart knowing that she was able to repay their kindness. From that day on, Ellie and her herd visited the monkeys often, bringing them bananas and spending time with them. The monkeys and elephants formed a close bond, and they looked out for each other in the jungle. They even worked together to find food and protect each other from predators. Ellie's experience being lost in the jungle had taught her the importance of family and friends, and the kindness of strangers. She had also learned that even the smallest act of kindness can make a big difference in someone's life. As the months passed by, the friendship between the elephants and monkeys grew stronger. The monkeys would always be excited to see the elephants and would help them find food and guide them through the jungle. Ellie became particularly close with a monkey named Max. Max was a wise and experienced monkey, who had lived in the jungle for many years. He taught Ellie about the different plants and animals in the jungle, and even showed her some secret paths that only the monkeys knew about. One day, a group of poachers entered the jungle. They were hunting for elephants to sell their ivory tusks. Ellie and her herd were in grave danger, but the monkeys came to their rescue. Max alerted Ellie and her herd about the poachers' presence, and together with the monkeys, they came up with a plan to outsmart the poachers. They managed to lead the poachers in circles, until they got lost in the jungle. The poachers eventually gave up and left the jungle, but not before they caused a lot of destruction to the jungle. Ellie and her herd were safe, but the jungle was left damaged and many animals were hurt or killed. Ellie and her herd, along with the monkeys, decided to stay in the jungle and help repair the damage caused by the poachers. They worked together to replant trees and bushes, and to build new homes for the animals who had lost theirs. The jungle slowly came back to life, and the animals returned to their homes. Ellie and her herd, along with the monkeys, had saved the jungle and all the animals who lived there. Ellie had learned that true friendship is about being there for each other in times of need, and that together, they can overcome any obstacle. As the years passed by, Ellie became a respected leader of her herd, and her friendship with Max and the monkeys continued to thrive. Together they made sure that the jungle remained safe and protected from poachers and any other dangers. Ellie's herd grew and prospered, and the monkeys and elephants became known as the protectors of the jungle. They were respected and loved by all the animals who lived there. One day, a group of researchers came to the jungle to study the wildlife. They were amazed at the strong bond between the elephants and monkeys and asked Ellie how it was possible. Ellie told them about her journey of being lost in the jungle and how the monkeys had helped her. The researchers were fascinated by Ellie's story and asked if they could document it and share it with the world. Ellie agreed, and the researchers spent several weeks in the jungle, observing and recording the daily lives of the elephants and monkeys. They also interviewed Ellie and Max, and learned about the importance of friendship, kindness and protecting the environment. When the researchers left the jungle, they published a book about their findings, and it became a bestseller. The book was translated into many languages and people all over the world read about Ellie's story and the special bond between the elephants and monkeys. Ellie's story touched the hearts of many people, and she became an inspiration for wildlife conservation. Many people were moved to take action and protect the environment, and the jungle and its inhabitants were safe for many years to come. Ellie's legacy lived on, and she will always be remembered as the lost elephant who taught the world about the power of friendship and the importance of protecting nature. As time passed, Ellie's story became known worldwide, and many people came to the jungle to see the elephants and monkeys and learn more about their friendship. Some of them even decided to stay and help protect the jungle. The jungle became a sanctuary for many different species, and the elephants and monkeys continued to thrive. Ellie had many children, who grew up to become strong and wise leaders, just like their mother. Ellie's herd was not the only one who prospered, the monkey population also increased, and the jungle was filled with life and vitality. The animals all learned to live in harmony, and the jungle became a model for wildlife conservation. Years passed, Ellie grew old, and she knew that it was time to pass on the leadership of the herd to her children. On her last days, she gathered her family and friends, the monkeys, and said goodbye to them. She thanked them for all the memories and the great life she had in the jungle. She reminded them to always protect the jungle and to be kind to others. Ellie passed away peacefully, surrounded by her loved ones. The jungle was filled with mourning, but her memory lived on. A statue was built in her honor, and every year, on the anniversary of her passing, the elephants and monkeys would gather around the statue and remember her. Ellie's story continued to inspire people all over the world, and her legacy lived on through the many generations of elephants and monkeys who called the jungle home. Thanks to her, the jungle remained a safe haven for wildlife and a symbol of friendship, kindness and conservation. As the jungle continued to thrive and flourish, the elephants and monkeys remained the guardians of the land. They worked together to protect the animals and the environment, and their friendship became a symbol of hope and unity. However, not all people were happy with the success of the jungle. Some saw it as an opportunity to exploit the land and its resources. A group of loggers entered the jungle, intent on cutting down trees and destroying the habitat of the animals. Ellie's children and their herd, along with the monkeys, knew they had to act fast to protect the jungle. They rallied the other animals, and together they formed a plan to stop the loggers. The elephants used their strength to block the loggers' path, while the monkeys provided intelligence and reconnaissance. They worked together to slow the loggers down, and eventually, the loggers were forced to retreat. The animals had saved the jungle, but the battle was not over. The loggers threatened to return, and the animals knew they had to be prepared for the next attack. They worked together to strengthen their defenses, and they built watchtowers and sentries to keep watch over the jungle. The loggers never returned, but the animals knew that they had to be vigilant in order to protect the jungle. They formed a council, made up of representatives of all the different species, to ensure that the jungle would always be protected. The jungle continued to thrive, and the animals lived in peace and harmony. Ellie's legacy lived on, and her children and their herd, along with the monkeys, were proud to continue her work to protect the jungle and its inhabitants. Ellie's story was passed down through the generations, and it continued to inspire people all over the world to work together to protect the environment and to be kind and compassionate to all living beings. As the years went by, the jungle continued to be a model for conservation and protection. Tourists from all over the world came to see the elephants and monkeys and learn about their friendship and the way they coexisted with other animals. Some of the tourists decided to stay and help in the conservation efforts, and a small community was formed around the jungle. They built eco-lodges, and developed sustainable tourism, which helped to protect the jungle and its inhabitants. The community also started a research center where scientists and researchers from all over the world came to study the animals and the environment. They discovered many new species and learned more about how the animals interacted with each other and their habitat. However, one day, a devastating event occurred. A massive wildfire swept through the jungle, destroying everything in its path. The animals, including the elephants and monkeys, were forced to flee to safety. The fire had burned down the eco-lodges and the research center, leaving the community in ruins. Ellie's children and their herd, along with the monkeys, were devastated by the destruction of their home. They knew they had to act fast to save the jungle and its inhabitants. They rallied the other animals and formed a plan to put out the fire and to rebuild their home. The elephants used their strength to create fire breaks, while the monkeys used their intelligence to find the best routes to move the animals to safety. The community worked together to put out the fire and to rebuild their homes. It was a long and difficult process, but the jungle slowly came back to life. The animals returned to their homes, and the eco-lodges and research center were rebuilt, stronger and more resilient than before. The jungle had faced a devastating event, but it emerged stronger. Ellie's legacy of kindness and compassion, and the importance of protecting nature and working together, had been passed down to her children and the community, and they had been able to overcome this challenge. After the wildfire, the jungle and its inhabitants were not the only ones who had suffered. The eco-tourism and research center were heavily impacted, and the community had to find ways to revive the tourism and research activities. Ellie's children and their herd, along with the monkeys, knew they had to act fast to save the community and its economy. They rallied the other animals and formed a plan to attract tourists and researchers back to the jungle. The elephants and monkeys became the main attraction, and the community started to organize tours and safaris for tourists to see the elephants and monkeys in their natural habitat. They also started to host researchers who wanted to study the animals and their behavior. The community also took steps to be more sustainable in their operations. They implemented eco-friendly practices, such as recycling and using solar energy, and they made sure to minimize their impact on the environment. Thanks to their efforts, the tourism and research activities started to pick up again, and the community began to prosper once more. The jungle continued to be a model of conservation and sustainability, and it attracted more and more visitors every year. Ellie's legacy had not only inspired the community but also the tourists who visited the jungle. They were moved by Ellie's story and her commitment to protecting nature, and they too were inspired to take action and protect the environment in their own way. Ellie's children and their herd, along with the monkeys, were proud to continue her legacy and to ensure that the jungle and its inhabitants were protected for many years to come. They knew that together, they could make a difference, and that the power of kindness and compassion could change the world. In conclusion, The Lost Elephant is a story that follows the journey of a majestic elephant named Ellie, who gets separated from her herd and goes on a journey to find her way back home. Along the way, she learns valuable lessons about friendship, kindness, and the importance of family and conservation. Ellie's story is filled with adventure and inspiration as she becomes a leader, and works with her monkey friends to protect the jungle and its inhabitants. Ellie's legacy lives on through her children and the community, who continue to protect the jungle and its inhabitants. The story is a reminder that we all have the power to make a difference, and that kindness and compassion can change the world. It encourages the reader to appreciate the beauty of nature and to work together to protect it.